if all is well, why am I like this? When you read that book, you'll be able to follow that story and may be able to find better answers or more answers on that. But you see, it begins with how you get to where you are going from where you are is your story. And that's the pathway. There are people who will avoid going through much work. There are those who will want to go through pathways that others have gone through. There are those who don't like to create new things, but they just want to follow what somebody else had done before. There are those people who will also not want to go through what everybody else is going through. They want to make their own way in the middle of wilderness. They want to make their own pathway. They don't want to follow what everybody else is following. To be honest, the pathway that you follow is your life story. The reason why your story and my story may not be the same is because the choices of the pathway we are going to follow is different. Okay? Now, if you want to know more about that, you should read the book, If All Is Well. Why am I like this? You will understand that better. But let me just quickly run through that, and that might be helpful a little bit for you. So, let me paint you a picture. You have a wall that is in front of you. Now, this wall is between you and your destination. Now, this wall that is between you and your destination is so high that you can't go over it. It's so wide that you can't go around it. And it's so thick that you can't go through it. How will you get to the other side? I repeat, there's a wall between you and the destination that you are going. Now, this wall is so high that you can't jump over it. It's so wide that you can't go around it. And it's so thick that you can't go through it. How will you get to the other end of that wall? In fact, your answer to that question is most likely going to determine how you are going to get from where you are right now to your destination in life. You know, some people will decide to go over the wall, and they will consider the whole idea of not being able to go over it as a task that they are willing to surmount. Now, you go over that task, you probably make ladder, create ladder from wood and all that, and then climb. But you see, when you eventually climb and get to the top of that wall, now the point is where you are going is not the top of the wall. So when you eventually climb and you get to the top of the wall, you will need to climb back down on the other side of the wall to get to your destination. But you see, being on top is actually a desirable place to be. And it's a very challenging thing to want to come down again on the other side and then begin to go. So you find most people, they are stuck on the top of the wall of their lives. And so they stay on the top. They are unable to come back down so that they can get to the destination. Is the top of the wall the destination? Then they are trying to overcome the obstacle, which is the wall, becomes their entire life story, not how they got to the destination. Oh, somebody else will say, you know what? I don't think this is a big problem. I'll just go over the face of the wall. We will not be the first person to experience this kind of wall. Perhaps somebody somewhere will have gone through this wall. And then he starts to journey on the face of the wall until he gets to a certain place and realizes that there is a gate that is already installed on the wall. Somebody somewhere before him or her has installed a gate. Except that the community around that new gate is a different community. They have a different language. A language that you need to understand first before you can interact with them and that community. They have a different way of life, a different culture. A culture you will have to learn first before you can integrate into that society. But as a matter of fact, it's become difficult to even be able to communicate with them at that gate so that they can let you in. And so many people will have to spend their entire life trying to learn that culture, learn that new way, learn that style, learn everything before they can go through that wall. Go through that gate at that point. Now, at the end of the day, they go through the wall, through that gate, to the other side. But then they get stuck at that place because everything seems already made. Everything is okay there. Everything is seemingly in place. And the pleasure of that already made place stops them from getting to the destination. Now, another person's response to that wall might be, you know what, I'm just going to bore a hole through this wall. by doggedness and and commitment, I will make sure that I open a wall through this. Well, after spending several years, the person will get through that wall and make a hole through the wall and get onto the other side. But what that simply means is that when he eventually gets through that hole that he has made through the wall to the other side, a lot of other people will want to go through that same hole. And then stampede starts. Then, because the hole is small, only a few people can go through that hole at a time. And then he is introduced, or she is introduced, to the enterprise at the other side of the wall. Because what happens next is the person just installs a gate on that hole and starts to collect gate fee from everyone that would like to go through the wall. It starts to collect gate fee. But the interesting thing with that gate fee is that while he's there monitoring the business of collecting gate fee at the wall, he has forgotten, or she has forgotten, that the wall, the enterprise at the wall, is not the destination. And so the person may be stuck there too, instead of moving on to the destination. And then another person might wake up, you know what? Let's break down this wall. Since some people had already broken down their own too, let's break down our own and create a free open access for other people coming behind us. The only problem is that that is not a popular idea. Everybody else wants to do their own thing for themselves. It will take more than one individual's effort to break down the wall. And so people will need to come together and agree and then bring all their skills together to be able to go through that wall. Well, what will eventually happen is that if and when they eventually get to do that, they break down the wall, the glory of being the one who initiated that wall becomes a problem. Because while the man is still, enjoying the grandeur, this is, we dreamt that this wall will go down, and this wall has finally gone down. While he's doing that, the stampede, the crowd that is waiting at the wall that wants to pass will go over his head in stampede. And he dies at the point because of the glory at the wall. Now, the problem with these 4 different pathways towards that destination is that while they are trying to get to the destination, the way how they went about surmounting their barrier, how they went over overcoming their barrier became their story, not getting to the wall itself, not getting to their destination. It becomes a distraction from the entire thing. Between you and the destination that God has set for you, what are the distractions that are in your way? What are the things that are drawing your attention away from the destination? Because your destination is not getting to the top. Your destination is not getting through the wall. Your destination is not making it through the gates. Your destination is not even breaking down the wall. Your destination is not how you conquer your challenges. Your story should not be end at how you conquer your life challenges. Your story should end in that you set out for a destination and you actually got to that destination.